Uh, Greetings, everyone. I hope you are safe and healthy in such unprecedented times. I am Utkarsh Singh from IEEE India Council Student Coordination Team, and on behalf of the whole IEEE India family, I would like to wholeheartedly welcome you all to the first webinar of IEEE India Council SCT on Build for India, a step towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is also being hosted in collaboration with IEEE Delhi section. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our guest speakers and all the dignitaries that we have with us from IEEE India Council Execom and from IEEE Delhi section. We have with us Professor S.N. Singh, who is the chairperson of IEEE India Council. It is his unparalleled leadership that has taken IEEE India Council to newer heights. So, with that note, I would like to welcome Professor S.N. Singh sir to the mic to shower some of his wisdom and blessings for the session.
Hello.
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 Hello. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Now it is meeting.
Yes, please address the meeting.
Thank you and good evening to all of you. And I can see more than 400 people are just attending this meeting, this webinar. And this is a very useful and really appreciate the Archit and other his team members. They are very active and trying to connect and try to help the people in this COVID-19 period. And the topic is also very relevant how we can make ourselves land Bharat. And it's basically, and already I saw the speaker is very renowned in this area, this this Paytm, and I hope this whole the webinar will be useful to all of you. And basically, you have attend the question answers so that very interactive, not one way. And this will be, I believe, and this process should continue in future also. Being the IC chair of India, I welcome you all, and I thank our speaker as well as the Archit and his team members and Delhi basically team members Prerna Gaur and others. So for organizing such a nice webinar. Thank you, and please go ahead with this webinar.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your lovely words. A collaborative effort often is a road to newer possibilities. This session is also a collaborative effort of the student coordination team with the IEEE Delhi section. To harbor this thought, I would now like to welcome Professor Prerna Gaur, the chair of IEEE Delhi section, to address the session with her kind words. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I am Professor Prerna Gaur, Chair of IEEE Delhi Section. On behalf of IEEE Delhi Section and India Council Student Coordination Team, I extend my warm welcome to everyone present in the room. Please join me in cheerfully applauding and warmly welcoming the dignitaries of the day. We welcome Professor S.N. Singh, Chair of IEEE India Council 2020. And ever since his tenure, IEEE India Council has been functioning vibrantly with lots of successful events almost every week. We are glad to witness the tireless efforts of IEEE India Council Student Coordination Team, IEEE Delhi Section Student Network Team, and all the members of Executive Committee. Today, we have amongst us Mr. Saurabh Jain, to ameliorate our perspective towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and how he has been consistently working towards Paytm Build for India mission. With sheer diligence and pleasure, I would love to have Mr. Saurabh sharing his vision with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In these trying times, when uncertainty looms, a self reliant nation is the one that stands tall. These words highlight the increased importance of self reliance or being Atmanirbhar in this globalized world. On that note, we are delighted to welcome Mr. Saurabh Jain, who is the Vice President of and who is also currently spearheading the Paytm Build for India program. Also being the founder of Fun to Do Labs, Mr. Jain is an advocate of startups being majorly about problem solving. Authoring Mobile Phone Programming, the first book on mobile app programming in India, he exemplifies the attitude of having a grand vision with a pragmatic approach coupled with humility. The book was published in 2003 and was a technical book on J2ME technology. Having over 14 years under the belt, time and again with his roles adorned as a consultant, director, and founder, he has proved to be a self starter, valuable team player, and a critical visionary. He has avidly volunteered as the founder of the BlackBerry Developers Group in India, is currently leading the Twitter developer group in New Delhi and heading the AWS developer community in New Delhi. And he is also awarded the Nokia Developer Champion from April 2013 to March 2014. With a great deal of elation, I would love to call upon Mr. Saurabh Jain to address us with sheer elegance and ingenuity in his precious words as we all look forward to envisioning an Atmanirbhar Bharat with him. We welcome you, sir.
Yes, good evening. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir, the slide is visible.
Yes, so thanks for a remarkable introduction. So I would like to share about Paytm Build for India, and this is the initiative which I am heading. And this is an initiative, although Atmanirbhar Bharat is a recent initiative started by Government of India, but Paytm had started Build for India initiative in 2017 end. And our aim is to basically promote solution building and startup building for India. And we believe that there is a lot of technical talent in India, which if we can funnel it properly to build startups for India and from India, we can do a lot of change in India. So I believe that India has more than a million problems, and those million problems cannot be solved by government alone, and for that we require millions of entrepreneurs. And I think that the specifically the engineering students are like best placed for starting startups which can change India. Just to share you a story, so for example, our founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma, he did engineering from Delhi College of Engineering, and most of his class, see, as is usual in most of the elite institutes in India, most of the class got placements in MNCs outside India, and most of the classmates went outside, and Vijay wanted to stay in India, and he wanted to do something big. And आप आज देखो, I would switch to English. मैं इसको थोड़ा और interactive करना चाहता हूँ, and I would believe हम question answers को if we can increase from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, because I want it more interactive. So आप आज देखो कि विजय को आप देखो और उनके क्लासमेट्स को देखो, तो आई वुड से कि विजय stayed in India, which was like a uh, very big decision at that time, because in late 1990s rarely any engineer used to stay in India, and he or she used to dream कि मैं इंडिया के लिए कुछ बड़ा करूंगा या करूंगी, and you just see rest is history. पिछले 20 साल में the way he has risen. So I would say कि that's what we want in Build for India, कि एक विजय नहीं, 1000 विजय या 1 लाख विजय पैदा हो इंडिया के अंदर. And I believe कि जितने भी engineering students हैं, they also are the difference between the engineering students of today and between the engineering students of 1990s. ये है कि initially ये होता था कि everybody wanted to do job in America. तो आई थिंक एक जमाने में वो था सपना, बट आज के जमाने में सपना जॉब इन अमेरिका नहीं है. आज के जमाने में वी हैव लॉट ऑफ पीपल लाइक सचिन बंसल, वी हैव पीपल लाइक भावेश अग्रवाल ऑफ Ola, we have obviously Vijay Shekhar Sharma. तो हमारे पास बहुत सारे role models हैं who have done engineering and who have become successful entrepreneurs. And ये सारे के सारे लोग इंडिया के लिए solutions बनाए इन्होंने. See, एक और interesting चीज आती है, many people feel कि people should innovate. So I have a different perspective on innovate. See, innovation is about problem solving. Innovation is not about pure technology. Because pure technology में आप अमेरिका को देख रहे हो, अमेरिका कितना आगे है इनोवेशन में, सब कुछ है, but at the end of the day more than 1 lakh people have died in America from corona. So I would say कि innovation has to be seen. So innovation has to be seen from a different perspective. So you have to focus on innovation in a sense that people are able to use your innovation. See, it makes no sense that if you are able to, if you create a lot of stuff and that stuff is not useful for people. So you see in America there was a lot of talk about lot of things like seemed very futuristic. So we were thinking about flying cars and everything in America, but now what we want is we want better healthcare, better health infrastructure. So what I would say is that the focus of any entrepreneur should be to solve a problem. So who is an entrepreneur? So see, Atmanirbhar Bharat needs millions of entrepreneurs. So first we have to be very clear who is an entrepreneur and what is the difference between an entrepreneur and a businessman. So entrepreneur is somebody who can do more than what is thought possible for less than what is thought possible. So this is a definition by John Doerr, who was one of the earliest investors in Google, and he basically was somebody who had this courage of investing in Google in 1990s, and he's a legendary investor in Silicon Valley. So entrepreneur is somebody who does more than what is thought possible for less than what is thought possible. So if you are doing 1 + 1 2, then you are a businessman, and if you are doing 1 + 1 11, you are an entrepreneur. And here this entrepreneur takes a lot of challenge, and that entrepreneur is able to do something which nobody else is able to do. So it's not just innovation, it's also the execution of the business plan. It's also getting the funding. I will be sharing a lot of stuff in some slides later on. So as of now, the thing is that if you want to become an entrepreneur, try to create stuff which basically is innovative, but also try to solve problems. Just don't focus on technology, try to solve problems for people and try to do 1 + 1 11. The other thing which I would like to share with you is that, for example, before Paytm, general thought process in India was that if you want to digitize the shops in India, you have to give them credit card machines which cost around 10,000 rupees per shop. So general thought process was for 1 crore shops, you require 10,000 crore rupees worth of investment. Paytm came, and now with this 2 rupee QR code sticker, you can digitize a shop. So just see that 2 rupee sticker can replace the 10,000 rupee credit card machine for practical purposes. And that is the reason why you see rickshaw wala, thele wala, auto wala using Paytm. And obviously you cannot imagine a small hawker to have a credit card machine and have an internet connection for that. But they can use Paytm, and that is what I think innovation is about. Innovation is not just about cutting edge technology. Innovation is about giving your people something which they can use in their day-to-day life. Innovation is about utility. Innovation is not about just technology or research papers. And that is what entrepreneurship is about. And what is a startup? A startup is a institution which is building a product or service under uncertainty. So this is a definition by Eric Ries, who is a author of Lean Startup. I would recommend all of you to read Lean Startup. It's a very good book on entrepreneurship. So I would say that you should try to create an organization which survives uncertainty. So generally we see that most people in India historically wanted government jobs. Why? The reason was people wanted life to be relatively linear. But startups are not about linearity. Startups are about non-linearity. So everybody who works in startups want to fly. And that's why I have this icon that even if you are in a cycle, you want to fly. So startups are about that. Startups are about growth. Startups are about challenging the assumptions. Startups are not about money. Generally, Economic Times and all these newspapers, they generally cover only funding news. And so once I went to Vijay, I had just joined Paytm. I said, why does Paytm only do PR related to funding. We do a lot of other good stuff. We do a lot of social service. We do a lot of other innovative things. Why we don't share that? So he said we do share everything, but generally the media covers funding because obviously funding looks more like glamorous. So many people want to become entrepreneurs because they just read about these glamorous stories that this and this startup has been funded with $100 million or $10 million, and we feel that we want to start a startup. But don't start a startup for that. Start a startup only for changing the world, and start a startup because you like uncertainty. And that is the reason why many of the startups have been able to basically thrive in the uncertainty. For example, today if you see, Paytm is being used more due to the coronavirus because people don't want to touch cash. People want to pay using Paytm. For example, my own kirana wala, earlier we used to pay him in cash before corona, and now I am paying him using Paytm. So startups thrive in uncertainty, and as a startup we should try to create products or service which can help people in the times of uncertainty, and which I feel is the right time today because a lot of disruption is happening. So you see that all the airline companies are now worth less than Zoom. So that is a disruption which is happening. In fact, I believe somebody was asking me, he said, sir, when will the normal times return? I said, normal times would never return because at the end of the day, even after Corona goes, we all now know that we can use Zoom, WebEx, and all these things. And what is the use of office? The use of office is maybe that we want to meet people for socializing, but at the end of the day we are able to do work from home, and we are more productive now than earlier. So that is what startup mindset is about. So you have to take challenges. You don't think about status quo. Always think that change is good. And there are three types of startups: winner takes all startup, lifestyle startup, and social startup. See, generally we believe that all startups are about growth. That is a wrong notion. Winner takes all startups are startups which always want to dominate a category. For example, Uber dominates the category of cabs, and Paytm dominates in India the category of payments, and Alibaba dominates the category of e-commerce in China. And then there are lifestyle startups. See, the difference between winner takes all startup and lifestyle startup is that in winner takes all startup, Jack Ma, who is the founder of Alibaba, he said people should work from 996. So he said they should work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 6 days a week. So in winner takes all startup, generally either people are very passionate, they work a lot, or they are pushed to work a lot. So at the end of the day, if you want work-life balance, don't join a winner takes all startup. You can join a lifestyle startup. Lifestyle startups are all about giving work-life balance. Basecamp.com is a very good example of a lifestyle startup. It's a small startup, but they say that they don't want their staff to work 50, 60 hours a week. They want their staff to work 32 hours in summer and 40 hours a week in winters. And then there are social startups like Khan Academy, and like my own startup Fun to Do Labs. After I joined Paytm, I converted into an open education project. They don't want to earn money, but they want to do social change. So I want to change the education ecosystem. Khan Academy, obviously, or they also want to change the education ecosystem. So we want a lot of social startups. In fact, I think this is the right time for social startups in health sector. And a lot of people, I think I am seeing, are doing a lot of innovation in health sector. So there are three goals of a startup. See, in 2002, when I thought of starting my startup, I had this dream. I had read about Bill Gates, I had read about Microsoft, Google, etc. And I had this dream that one day I would have portfolio of successful products. I would have a company in which there would be culture, which will be very good. And one day an IPO will come and I will become a millionaire, or maybe, if God willing, maybe a billionaire. So that is generally a dream of all these winner takes all startup founders. That is general dream of all the founders. So three focus areas of startup founders is product, people, and purchasing power. So what I realized when I became an entrepreneur was there can be hundreds of things which I can focus on. But the problem was that as a new startup entrepreneur, I was not very clear what to focus on. So fortunately, I was able to read a lot of books from starting 2015. I started reading a lot of books. I tried reading one book every week, and I have completed around 200 books now. And I have sometimes read some of the books 2 3 times, like Lean Startup. I have read 3 times. Some of the other books I have read two times. So I would say that you have to do a lot of self-study. And after reading all those books and even working with Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who is an iconic entrepreneur, I realized that as a startup entrepreneur, you have to focus on three things: product, people, and purchasing power. So people want your startup only because you are creating a good product, and obviously you require people to create that product, and those people require purchasing power. Obviously people require a salary, people require office, etc., yeah, infrastructure to work. So you require purchasing power for them. And I also call these three P's of startups. And then there are three stages of startup life cycle. See, as a student, generally you will feel how to start a startup, and you always hear about scaled startups like Paytm, etc., which are always there in the news. And you feel ki I am a student, I don't have money. How will I start a startup? So I believe that there are three stages, and you have to first start with search stage. And as a student in college, searching is easiest, because once you leave the college, you would not have access to teachers, you would not have access to your friends, etc., in day-to-day life. And searching with people is easier. Searching with mentorship of teachers, etc., is easier. And generally, colleges have very good infrastructure, so searching through using that infrastructure is easy, because searching and building with that infrastructure is easy. And once you are able to build something, and obviously you complete your degree, you can take funding, and then you can scale. Don't think about scaling from first day, don't think about funding from day one. So I have created this tool called Startup Canvas, which helps you to create your startup. Because see, Atmanirbhar Bharat needs millions of entrepreneurs. And why people prefer MNC jobs, and why people prefer jobs in general, because they don't want to take risk with their life. And sometimes even if they want to become entrepreneur, for example, I can share you the story of Vijay. So Vijay wanted to become an entrepreneur, but his parents didn't want him to become entrepreneur, because general thought process was you have to do job. And I also know one of the big entrepreneurs who sold his company for $10 million 15 years ago. And he was sharing this in an event. He said, my mother asked, बेटे अब क्या करेगा after selling? So she had that in mind ki he will be joining some job after selling his company. So general thought process of parents is generally more towards jobs. So I would say that you can convince your parents that although 90% of startups fail, but if you do the right steps, your probability of success increases dramatically. The other thing is that many of the startups want a lot of entrepreneurial people. I call them intrapreneurs. And this is a very famous term these days, intrapreneur. So intrapreneurs are required, and most of the startups keep people who are sort of failed entrepreneurs, or who are entrepreneurs who have not been very successful. Why? See, for example, I give you my example. So I started my startup in 2003, and I was I would say I was an average entrepreneur. But why I was recruited? Because I had a knowledge which is very difficult for a person who has done a career in job to get. So, for example, I organized a lot of hackathons, etc., for BlackBerry and Nokia. I had very good relations with Nokia, Twitter, Amazon, BlackBerry developer teams, even in America, etc. And so all these things were possible only because I was an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur, you can create a very good career for you. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, if you get successful, people would be able to use your products, and that would help in Atmanirbhar Bharat. So just giving a broad overview of these 9 steps. So first, in the search stage, start with a problem. So as I told, India has a million problems. Start with a problem of India. So many people, many students specifically ask, they say, sir, कौन सी problem choose करूं? So I always tell them, so they ask which problem to choose. And I always tell them that choose any problem you want. So there is a concept in Japanese called ikigai, which says that try solving a problem which you can solve, for which there is a demand in market, for which people are willing to pay, and for which you have some knowledge. So I would say try any problem. And at least in India, we don't have this problem of choosing a problem, because we have millions of problems. Had you been born in maybe Europe before Corona, or in US, etc., we used to feel that they don't have much problems, although Corona has exposed their problems also. But we used to feel that Western countries are always happy, and in the happiness index, they are generally in first top 10. So in those countries, finding problems may be difficult. But in India, obviously, finding problems is not that difficult. And try choose a problem which you like. For example, I chose a problem of education. Maybe you can choose a problem of education, health, sanitation, and many people feel that Paytm got a benefit from demonetization. So I always tell people that demonetization came for PSU banks also. Demonetization came for a lot of competitors also. Why Paytm benefited was that Paytm is a startup, so it was more agile. And most of our competitors are PSU banks, etc., are relatively slower to adapt. So for us, adapting in first 2 months was way easier than for them to adapt. So as a startup, I call this. I'm not comparing this with poor people, but I have this phrase called "Garibi ka maza." As a startup, because you have only a few lakhs and you may have just you and your co-founder, so you are a very small uh, thing, but your startup can grow very fast because you are very agile. You have speed to help you. So just see that if you are small, you are like a rat. You can run very fast. But if you are very big, so for big companies to change the course of direction is very difficult. So your advantage is to choose a problem, try to iterate very fast, and try to create a solution which is desirable, viable, and feasible. This is a very important aspect. You have to create a product which is desirable, viable, and feasible. Many engineers feel that you have to just create a technical product, and this is the biggest mistake I did in my life. Although I have done CA, but I wrote India's first book on J2ME, which was a technical book. I learned C language in class 8. I started doing artificial intelligence, symbolic reasoning, etc. in class 11. And I only did CA because my father, I had a tragic accident. My father died in class 10. And my mother said, Ki, if you do engineering, you may have to go to distant cities. Like, for example, if I got admission in IIT, so it was very rare that I would have got admission in IIT Delhi. I would have had to go to Kharagpur or Madras, etc. And she said that that's why she wanted me to do CA because my father was a CA and we had a CA office. She said after my father's death and my brother's death, she didn't want to send me outside the city. But I continued learning a lot of things. So this is what I would say, that try to do a lot of self learning, because colleges cannot teach you about problems. Colleges only teach you about technology. Colleges don't teach you about desirability. So you have to focus on three things while building a solution: desirable, viable, and feasible. Colleges only teach you about feasibility. MBA teaches you only about viability. But desirability you can learn only through design. And if you want to do a degree for that, it's very difficult because NID has very few seats. I would say you have to do self-learning. There are a lot of good books available on design, etc. So try to create a product which is well designed. What I have seen is that in India we create a lot of technology. Just giving you an example of GST website. GST is a very good law, but you must have heard a lot about bad things about GST. Why? Because GST site sucks. I was talking to somebody who basically was in a company which was outsourced by government to create a GST site, and I told, "Don't you know about cloud computing?" He said, "We know about cloud computing." So I asked, "मैंने कहा, why does your site crash every month in last 3 days?" Because what I also realized was that one day my son, he's just 10 years old, he was sitting with me, and I had to save the return, and after a few seconds it said that still saving. So it takes a lot of time for GST site to work. It's not just a problem of technology. Had they designed the site in a better way, people would have liked the site, people would have liked the law. In India, most of the innovation, unfortunately, is good technically, but very bad in terms of design. So I would say one key takeaway you should take away from my presentation is that you should be good in design. And as an engineer, don't try to focus just on technology, try to focus on design. Just see Zuckerberg, why Mark Zuckerberg was successful, even though he had to fight Google, and why Google was not able to create a good social network. Why? Because creating a social network is not about technology. It is not about going to IIT. Creating a social network is about understanding psychology. So you have a lot of engineers in Facebook who understand psychology, but you don't have those kind of engineers in Google, or maybe you had less of those kind of engineers in Google. That's why even after I see after many attempts, Google has never been able to beat Facebook in social media. So that is what I want to share, that some of the solutions need understanding of psychology, design, etc. Just don't try to focus on technology, technology, technology. Tesla is a good car, not because it has the best technology, but it is well designed car also. It is one of the best designed cars. Uh, iPhone, why it became successful? Because it was one of the best designed product. It was not just technically good product. So find a good problem and then find a solution and try to create a good, well designed product around that problem. And when will that solution be fit? So see, at the end of the day, there would not be one solution. You will find a lot of solutions, but every solution would have a pattern, and that pattern would be fixed. So there is a very good book on architecture, which is very famous in Silicon Valley. It is about pattern languages. So you will see that everything in the world is composed of pattern languages. So I would say just try to Google pattern languages and try to learn a lot about pattern languages. So you will see that all games, all technical products are created using design languages, pattern languages. They are like, for example, in object-oriented programming, there are OOPS design patterns also. So similarly, you will find that every solution, when you will be building, you will be able to create a pattern of solutions. So for example, just a very crude small example I can give. So McDonald's is solving a problem of, like, if you are working in an office and if you want to solve your hunger very fast, you can go to McDonald's and you can just eat in 5 minutes and come back. So it is solving a problem using fast food. And what solution pattern it has created? It has created a pattern of burger. And in this burger, just see, in America they give beef burger, in India they give veggie burger, in Japan maybe they are giving some other burger. So what is happening is that burger is a pattern, and that specific type of burger they change according to the geography. And like similarly in Paytm, see, Paytm is about person A giving money to person B and person B giving back a service to person A. So just see, we have hundreds of services, but everybody follows this same pattern. Every service follows this same pattern. So this pattern language is a very important concept. I would say that after reading 200 books, I would rate this pattern language as one of the top things which I have learned. Then we come to founders. See, many startups fail because founders are generally not good, or sometimes founders are good. They are clever, they are intelligent, etc. But they are not able to work together. And I have seen a lot of time, the more educated a person, it becomes very difficult for that founder to work together. So I would say, matlab, I would like to share an example of one of my relatives. So he studied from IIT Roorkee, and unfortunately he had a lot of losses due to his partner, and then he had to close down the business. And for the first 5-10 years after closing down the business, he had to like have a lot of pain in day to day, because financial pain. Because obviously, if the business goes bankrupt, it becomes very difficult for the family to survive. So I would say that finding your partner is one of the most important concepts. And this is where I would like to focus now, because see, Atmanirbhar Bharat obviously as a slogan is very good. But if you are not able to work with your co-founder, you cannot found a startup. And if you are not able to start your own startup, then obviously how will this Atmanirbhar Bharat come? So I say that to find a founder, focus on three things: head, heart, and hand. See, first focus on, is this founder intelligent? So head, heart. Then focus on heart. Is this founder having integrity? Warren Buffett says that the number one thing you should see is that is this person having integrity or not? Imandar hai ya nahi aadmi? And then you should also see, does this person have empathy or not? So there are many engineers who are very good in engineering. Fortunately, they don't have empathy for the customer. So what I've seen is that why Vijay has been successful. The reason is not engineering. There are n number of engineers in India who are good. But the interesting thing is Vijay has very great level of empathy, which I have seen. So once he was sharing, he said that I am going to a lot of places in Build for India. I should talk to common man and understand the weaknesses of Paytm and some of the benefits which common man feel about Paytm. So he told me about a story. He said that he went to Jaipur. He asked a dhaba wala. He said, "Bhaiya, Paytm use karte ho?" And that dhaba wala said, "No, I am not using Paytm." And he told 3-4 points. What were the problems in Paytm? He came back and he told his top engineering team that please solve these issues. So he always says that he believes that this common rickshaw wala, dhaba wala are his boss. So these people are his boss. His boss are not people who are investors. His boss are not people who are like I would say Harvard studied. But his people, his bosses are people who run rickshaw, who run auto, who run dhaba. Because these are the people who use Paytm. So your founder should have a great sense of empathy for the customer. And then there is third thing, hand. What is this founder bringing? Is he or she bringing money in hand or experience in hand or knowledge in hand? And in intelligence, we generally, most engineers and most middle class people are generally fond of IQ. See, IQ is a wrong theory. It was superseded by theory of multiple intelligence in 1980s. So there was this professor called Howard Gardner who wrote this very interesting theory on theory of multiple intelligence. And in 2016 or 17, I had read this book about theory of multiple intelligence, and it told that there are 8 types of intelligences. And interestingly, when I started working in Paytm in 2017, I observed that Vijay has all these 8 intelligences. And that is the reason for success. The reason for Vijay's success was not that he's a good engineer. There are n number of good engineers, as I was telling. But Vijay is one of the very few engineers. I have never met an engineer who is as intelligent as Vijay. Not just technically, but he's very good in all those 8 intelligences. And out of those 8 intelligences, 5 intelligences are very critical if you want to become a big entrepreneur. What are those 5 intelligences? And I will be covering all the 8 also. So first intelligence is logical intelligence. If you are an engineer, then obviously you would have good logical intelligence, because obviously otherwise you would not have even qualified 12th class with good marks in maths or science. Then you also have to have good linguistic intelligence. Generally, if you are engineer, you would have good linguistic intelligence, because without English or Hindi, you would not have been able to pass the 12th class. And then there are 3 intelligences which are not directly related to entrepreneurship, but which may be related in certain categories of entrepreneurship, or which I can say are general intelligences, like kinesthetic intelligence for dance. So if you want to become a Hrithik Roshan, you should have some inborn kinesthetic intelligence. If you should have musical intelligence if you want to become like Gulshan Kumar of T series, or if you want to create, if you want to have spatial intelligence, there is a spatial intelligence. If you want to do spatial related stuff, like if you want to do architecture, etc., you should have that knowledge. And then there are 3 critical intelligences which are very, very important, and which Vijay has, I would say, 12 out of 10. So first one is interpersonal intelligence, ability to convince people, because as an entrepreneur, technology is less important than ability to convince people. Why? So just sharing a very small story. So once a professor came to meet me in our office, and Vijay was standing around 100 meters from where we were meeting, and he said, "Sir, does Vijay sir still code?" And I say, he doesn't code computers, but he programs human beings. Why? Because company has now 10,000 people, and programming people is more important than programming computers right now. So what I would say is that first you have to convince your investors, you have to convince your co-founder, you have to convince your customers, you have to convince your core employees, you have to convince a lot of people. So convincing is, I would say, ability to program, I would rate after ability to convince people. So ability to program people is very important skill, and interpersonal intelligence is required for that. Then there is intrapersonal intelligence. So I became a family friend of Vijay, and I was able to meet his family. And what I realized was that even though he's the one of the youngest billionaires in India, his family is very down to earth. He is not about money. So generally we believe that billionaires are only about, जैसे there are general things that billionaires live in very big mansions, billionaires are always about splurging money. But I saw that he's very down to earth. His family is even very down to earth. And the interesting thing is that so then I asked his wife, I asked, why is he working? Because what I realized was that he was not working for money. So then I realized why is he working so much? Why he spends 15 hours a day working? So then what I realized was that he wants to change the world. He wants that India should become as big as USA. He always says, उनका एक पीछे उन्होंने एक in a event he shared, he said, बहुत कर ली हमने, जैसे because everybody is into outsourcing in India, he said बहुत कर ली हमने अमेरिका वालों की चाकरी, we would now create products which will win the world, and this is what is for working for. So for example, Paytm, generally Japanese companies give technology to Indian partners, and Indian partners promote Japanese stuff in India. So just see Honda cars, Toyota cars, all have Indian partners, and Indian partners take technology from Japan and they create cars, etc. in India from that technology. But in Paytm, we are doing opposite. We have had a tie-up with Yahoo Japan, and we are giving technology to them. And we have launched PayPay with Yahoo Japan in Japan. So PayPay is a joint venture between Paytm and Yahoo Japan. And PayPay is basically like Paytm, and Paytm is giving technology. We are giving AI-based fraud engines, etc. to Yahoo Japan. And just see, earlier Indians used to take technology. Now India is exporting technology, and this is what Vijay is working for. And then the last and most critical intelligence, naturalistic intelligence. So 10 years ago, Vijay went to the board and he said he wants to start Paytm, and board said this is a very foolish idea. Board was not willing to fund him. Why? Because board said nobody in India has smartphones. 10 years ago, very few people had smartphone, and board also said people who have smartphones generally have black money, and obviously they would not link their mobile wallets, etc. with their bank accounts. But Vijay insisted. Vijay said this is the future, and see, rest is history. So you need a co-founder with all these 8 characteristics. Obviously most people don't have 8 characteristics. So what I would advise would be that you should have a co-founder who can be complementary to you. So maybe you have 5 intelligences, and that co-founder also has 4 or 5 intelligences, and as a complementary team, you can join together to have all the intelligences. The other thing which I would like to tell interestingly is that you don't have to be having inborn intelligences. For example, I was not very good in interpersonal intelligence before joining Paytm. But because in Paytm, my role is to meet people every day. So I was meeting hundreds of people. I was talking or giving seminars to hundreds of people. So in that process, I went to around 20 states of India, and I met thousands of people. And now I can say that I have very great sense of interpersonal intelligence, which, so this interpersonal intelligence I was able to create in myself. So as an engineer, you should try to create interpersonal intelligence, because generally people feel ki if I am doing equations and all, I am intelligent. But at the end of the day, for empathy, you should have interpersonal intelligence. So then coming to next, bootstrapping. See, initially nobody would fund you. So generally, this is a very often asked question. Somebody asked Abhi right now also in chat. So somebody asked this question, I don't have money, what should I do? So I would say that, see, that's why we have this search phase. So try to find a niche which can work, because if you find something which is very useful for people, people will be willing to pay you advance. And the other thing is that at this time, don't go to investors, because no investor would give a student money if you are just starting it. If you are in IIT, etc., maybe people can give you money, but most of the tier 2, tier 3 colleges, nobody would give you money initially. But there are some government schemes. I am in a I am in a committee of Department of Science and Technology. So this is a national committee on entrepreneurship. So we give a lot of funding to incubators for giving to entrepreneurs. So most of the incubators, they give you a small level of funding if you go to them. So you can get incubated in these incubators. And the good thing is that even in IITs, non-IIT students can go and they can get funding from IIT incubators. So I would like to tell you to go to any DST funded, Department of Science and Technology funded incubator, and you can get funding. And then there are other incubators also. For example, like I was talking to a girl in Amity, she got funding from Amity incubator for 5 lakh rupees. So such small fundings you can get from incubators. And then there are some government grant schemes also, which you can go to Department of Science and Technology, BIRAC, etc. And then we come to build. See, building, I would also say that building within college is easier. So Vijay started his first company in college. Mark Zuckerberg started his first company in college. Bill Gates started Microsoft in college. So I would say college is the best time to start your startup. So product market fit is the more is very important step. So once you start creating a product, see, first don't try to create product in one go. So generally क्या होता है, we feel as मतलब people who have studied it in India, generally our education system is all about कि one shot में we will pass things. But you will not be able to create products in first step in one go. You would have to first start with a minimum viable product. Start with a minimum viable product, iterate it. In Eric Ries, in his book, he says that you have to follow the build, measure, learn loop. Build, measure, and learn. So don't think कि fail हो गए. I have this experience of having a few engineers in my company, and sometimes what happens after 2 months, you realize that this is not a product. You shelf this product and you start creating some other product. And even though it's a material loss and financial loss to me as a entrepreneur, but my employees sometimes they give this feedback that sir, we don't want to work on some different thing. Why? Because they said we worked on this for 2-3 months, we don't want to leave this. See, this is what Eric Ries is telling, that you have to think that you have to build stuff which has demand. So try to create a product which is fit for the market. So you have to build, measure, and learn, and only when you will measure, you will understand whether people are liking this or not. You have to measure analytics, you have to do customer interviews, and when people will give this feedback whether they are liking it or not, then based on that you have to create, you have to iterate, you have to change the features, etc., and always be open to learning and creating new features. And this is what I have seen in Vijay. He is very fast in taking this decision that if people are not liking a product, he will leave that product and he will try creating some other product. So you have to be like, not sort of love your product. You have to think that whether people would love this product or not. If you start loving your product and if people don't start loving that product, then obviously that product would not have any future and your company would go bankrupt. And market, see, in digital markets you have to focus on long tail markets. So for example, if you see offline, most shops have 1000 products, 2000 products, maybe 10,000 products. But if you go to Amazon, they have millions of products. If you go to Google Play, if you go to Apple App Store, you will find millions of products. So all these millions of products create a long tail of demand. So find your own niche. Don't try to today Zoom is working, so don't try to create a Zoom clone. Or maybe if today specifically corona vaccine is being created, don't try to create a corona vaccine, because 120 companies are already creating a corona vaccine. What I'm saying is that try to find problems which are not being taken care of by people. For example, if you are creating robot, don't try to create a robot just for the heck of it. Try to create a robot which can help elderly people. Say for example, if somebody is 80 years of age and that person's son or daughter is living in US and that person is living alone in Delhi. So try to create a robot for that. Don't try to create just a robot ki it is having artificial intelligence, that is cool technology these days, I'm creating for that. Don't try to create technology like that, because that technology would not uh, become hit in market. It will become hit in market only if you are solving a problem, and if there will be demand only due to that. And then when you create a product for the market, you find product market fit when there are three things. When there is very high demand, for example Zoom these days, or Paytm during demonetization, or I can give you a very simple example of Fun to Do Labs. So we were creating educational posters free of cost, we were sharing them on Pinterest, and we had just around 10,000 unique viewers every month in February. And today just we crossed 1 lakh unique viewers. Why? Because these educational posters were useful, but after corona most of the teachers are teaching students using Zoom, etc., and most of the school teachers, they want educational posters for teaching, for basically sharing on Zoom, and that's why we are getting a lot of traction. So product market fit is when you have a very high demand, there is a very high retention ratio. For example, somebody if he starts using Uber, they generally don't delete the Uber app, they start continue using Uber app. So there is very high retention in Uber, there is very high retention in Zoom, there is very high retention in Paytm. And then the third thing is there should be positive unit economics. Obviously every time somebody uses it, you should not lose a lot of money. Either you should be neutral or you should get some money. And then core team. See, core team is also like finding a founder, but the only difference is that core team has to be paid. So the important thing in core team is that they should be flexible. Engineers should also feel that they can do designing, marketing, etc. If there is an engineer who feels that मेरा काम तो सिर्फ code करना है, I don't want to market, I don't want to design, I don't want to learn new stuff, don't hire that person in the core team, because core team should be very flexible. And core team are people who are basically living, breathing with you every day. So don't try to just recruit a person just for a degree or just for experience. Try to recruit a person only if you want to work with them. So that is regarding core team. And then you go to angel investor once you create a product, and that and the angel investor can see that that within a few months or maybe within a year you can find the product market fit. Then the angel investor is willing to fund. And because core team would obviously cost money, and you would need 40-50 lakhs in year one after you create a product. So at that time you should go to angel investor, and angel investor sees a pitch deck. You have to create a pitch deck. See, pitch deck needs an elevator pitch. I have seen most of the entrepreneurs are not able to summarize their thing in 1 or 2 lines. Many entrepreneurs come to me, they say, sir, this is what we are building, please help us. And I see that they find it very difficult to say about their product in 1 or 2 lines. They sometimes take 10 minutes, 5 minutes to explain their product. If you take so much time, nobody would fund you. Try to create 1 or 2 lines which can explain what you are doing. And after that, for example, just to share, I was in a conference and Sachin Bansal of Flipkart was there. And somebody asked, Sachin, you do such a technical job. How you explain to your family? So he explained, he said, one day he showed the Flipkart app to his Dadi. And he said, Dadi, choose any product. Just click on that product and just click 2-3 times to pay, and after 2 days that product would come to you by courier. So in 2 lines he was able to explain what Flipkart does to his Dadi. And this is called mom or Dadi test, where if you are able to explain your product to your mom or Dadi, then only you should go to your angel, to any angel investor, because obviously they would ask a lot of questions. The other thing is, there are professional pitch deck templates available. You should try building a professional pitch deck and only then go to them. And then we come to scaling. So first step is growth profit fit. See, like when I joined Paytm in 2017, after demonetization, we were growing very fast. So Vijay says that first 3 years focus on growth, after product market fit, then focus on revenue, then focus on profit. In the current environment, I would say you have to focus on profit a little more, because funding is difficult to get. And if you are profitable, then obviously it becomes easier to expand and get more funding. If you are losing money, getting funding in the current scenario is a little difficult if you are outside of health or tech. Corporation. See, corporation, after you start growing, you have to recruit a lot of people, because for growing, you require hundreds of people, and you have to create a formal departmental structure. You have to also create hierarchies. So for example, every company has a hierarchy. Generally CEO is at the top, and like there are multiple levels of hierarchy within a corporate, and then there are also levels of seniority. So for example, Vijay, our CEO, is at level 10 in Paytm, and if you join as a new engineer in Paytm, you will join either at level 1 or level 2. So we have 10 levels. I was just learning that Google or Amazon, one of these companies, have 12 levels. So when you grow, you have to create this formal structure, and only then you would be able to manage thousands of people within your startup. And finally, you require a venture capitalist, because see, once you recruit 100 people, you will require crores of rupees for infrastructure as well as for salaries. And venture capitalists generally fund from 3 crores and above. So you have to learn about the venture capital ecosystem. These are professional investors. See, angel investors are HNIs, but venture capitalists are professional investors. They have venture funds. They take money from HNIs. They promise them 10x, 20x return. So you have to basically give minimum 10x return to angel investors and venture capitalists, and up to some even require up to 20, 30, 40x of return. Obviously, if you see a big dream, you will be able to these days do a lot of big stuff. For example, Vijay was from a very like a middle class family. His father was a uh, teacher in a small town called Aligarh, and see Resta, now he is one of the youngest billionaires in India. So these days money is not a problem. You can get money from angel investors or venture capitalists, but the thing is that you have to promise them 10-20x return, and you have to have like a venture which can grow very fast. So if you create a venture which is not growing fast, nobody would fund you. But if you create a venture which can grow very fast, it can people would fund you. And technology obviously helps in that thing, because with technology, scaling becomes easier. So this is where technology comes into play. So just to sum up, start with problem, then focus on finding a co-founder, bootstrap for a few months. I would advise you at least keep 12 months of money for bootstrapping, because without that kind of money, you would be not able to sustain. And I would even advise that in the current scenario, even for having 24 months of money would be better, because right now funding, etc., has died up a little. And then create a product which is fit for the market. Create that product using a core team. If you don't have money, try to give ESOPs, shares, etc., with the core team, and take money from angel investor. Try to grow your product very fast. Try to find an engine of growth. There are three kinds of engines of growth: virality, stickiness, and maybe your product is very expensive, like Bajus has this very expensive product, so they can give large commission to sales agents. So either your product is expensive, so you can give big commissions, or it is viral like WhatsApp, or it is very sticky like Uber. Otherwise you would not be able to grow. And then create a corporation. So at this step, obviously you require a lot of interpersonal intelligence, because to recruit founders, to recruit core team, to recruit people in a corporation, you require a lot of money. To talk to angel investors, to talk to venture capitalists, you require a lot of interpersonal intelligence. And one day, if everything is successful, you will be able to do a IPO, and maybe you would also become a billionaire like Bill Gates, or maybe Larry Page, etc., or Vijay Shekhar. So with that, I would like to open it for Q&A. And one last thing which I would like to share. See, Paytm wants to promote entrepreneurship. So we are, you can see our payment gateway and other services in business.paytm.com. And as Built for India, we are giving a free payment gateway to people. So if you are a student who has registered a partnership firm or a private limited company, I would be happy to give you a free payment gateway up till 1 lakh rupees worth of transaction value for 12 months. So which will help you get this free payment gateway. And if you don't have a company, you can just go to business.paytm.com. We have also started some free plans for students, etc. You can just go and take that free plan, and up till a certain limit, you will get payment gateway free of cost. So we are trying to help in our own ways student ecosystem. So with that, I would like to open it for Q&A.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful and engaging session. Now we would like to get started with the Q&A session. Since a lot of questions are being asked by the attendees, I would request the attendees to write their questions in the Q&A session, and I'll pick up some questions and ask sir. So, sir, one of the question is, there are multiple apps to solve a single problem, and every day we're having hundreds of apps that are coming to the market, but only a few of them are able to sustain. So what do you think are the key strategy to retain the business market, or to compete with someone that actually exists in the business market?
See, the main thing which I have told you is that first is that your product should be solving a problem. Because if you are solving a problem, there would be a demand someday. Because nobody wants to use a product which is not solving your needs. So why you use Paytm? Because obviously Paytm, like just to share, when my father was there, so this is about 25 years ago. So he used to have a full-time clerk whose job was just to deposit bills. And now that same thing you can do in 5 minutes using Paytm. And he used to pay, like I if I remember correctly, he used to pay I think 5,000 rupees a month to him in 90s, just for that, for the stuff which now Paytm helps you to do. So the thing is that if you are solving a problem, obviously your app would have a utility. Then your solution should be well designed. So even after, like, we have a team of I think 30, 40 designers, and that's why Paytm is easy to use. See, you remember Microsoft Office used to have NIT used to have courses on Microsoft Office. You don't have courses on Paytm or WhatsApp. Why? What is the reason? Because they are relatively well designed products. They are designed with common man in mind. So try to create a product which is well designed. Well designed is not about glamour like iPhone has its aluminum body or glass body. This is not. I would not say that that is just design. Design is about functionality. So there is a very good book by ex vice president of Apple. It is called Design of Everyday Things. So I would recommend all engineers to read that book, Design of Everyday Things. Please read that book, because see, India के अंदर ना we have more than 1 million engineers come out every year. I was talking to somebody in AICT. So 1.5 million engineers come out every year in India. But out of those 1.5 million, he was saying that only 10% of people are good and employable. 90% are not employable even. So even if you are employable, then your success rate in entrepreneurship is less. If you are not employable, how will you even be able to run your own company? So I would say that try to learn a lot of these stuff. And once you try, and these books are relatively easy to understand. So try to learn design. So you have user experience design, you have user interface design, you have functional design. Try to learn these things and then try to learn about growth hacking. See, most apps which are successful are doing growth hacking. They use an engine of growth, which I shared, like it should be sticky or it should be viral. So try to create virality in your app. So that's why you see in Twitter and Facebook, they always recommend things. They recommend people to friend others. Why? Because they want virality. When you friend somebody, so obviously that somebody would write to you and you will write to that somebody, and obviously virality would happen. So try to create virality in your app, and then obviously the final thing is profit. If you are able to create profitable growth, then you can get more funding, or if you are able to get millions of customers even without profitable growth, you will get funding. And then if you get funding, you will be able to recruit best designers, you will be able to recruit. So this is a flywheel concept. So there is a very good book called Good to Great. So it has this flywheel concept where where the author says that once you start flying, so at every iteration you will fly, and your company would grow. Same thing is happening with Amazon. And the author has given example of Amazon, where like everything Amazon does increases the flywheel, and there is a positive loop which is happening, which has grown Amazon. So I would say that to grow your app, you have to focus on all these things, and only then your app will grow. Another thing which I would like to share would be that I am available on social media as at SKJ Saurabh. At SKJ Saurabh, you can go to medium.com/ at SKJ Saurabh, and you can read my blog. I have listed all the 200 books which I have read over last 5 years in my blog. You can just go there and you can read my blog. And you can also follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can also search Saurabh Jain Paytm, and I generally come on Google and on LinkedIn. We can have the next question.
Yes, sir. So there are multiple questions which have a similar theme, and that is focused around that. Do you really need a prototype or a product to start a startup? And how do you know if your idea is actually gonna be successful or not? Is the right idea or not?
First thing first, nobody knows that idea would be successful or not. I used to feel till 2015 ki these Google people have come from Stanford. That's why they are knowledgeable. What I've seen is that most people in companies like Google, Facebook, or even I would say Paytm are intelligent, but they don't know what would happen next. They don't know what would be successful or not. What they do is, and Eric Ries has written a lot about this in his book Lean Startup. So you start with a minimum viable product. So don't, instead of creating a prototype, you create a minimum viable product. Hindi, agar if I want to say minimum viable product, I would say it's like a jugaad product. So you create a very small product which is still desirable, viable, and feasible, and try to share that. A very good example would be that if you want to start Uber like company, don't start with hundreds of cabs. Just start with one cab, become the driver of that cab, and start with a one housing society. And in that RWA group, share your phone number and tell everybody that if you want to go to a railway station, or if you want to go to airport or some other place, I am willing to take you. The reason is that you will learn a lot using that MVP. Obviously, renting one cab would not be very costly, and every trip obviously would give you money. So minimum viable products are not about profit, but they are about learning. But obviously, if you start small, you won't be spending a lot of money. So start small, try to learn. And obviously, Lean Startup book is a very good book. It lists a lot of case studies about such companies who started with minimum viable product. I have seen Vijay also starts with minimum viable product. I've always seen he starts with minimum viable product and then try to iterate. See, India, where the problem is that education system, and specifically, I always, even though I am speaking to engineers, I always criticize the education system and specifically the colleges, etc. The reason is that most of the education system and college is always focused on coming first, second, third, etc. They are not focused on iteration because and most good students are not accustomed to doing iterations. But you have to do a lot of iterations. Google ka first shot mein nothing become successful. They always start with beta. Paytm ke andar also generally we start small and then we scale. I have personally seen Vijay always say ki start small and then we will grow it very fast. So same thing I've seen with Google and Facebook, etc. They start small, they do a lot of experiments. So, so try to do that, and obviously Lean Startup Book helps in that because it gives you a way of creating minimum viable products, and and also focus on agile. I think many people may have heard about agile, so try to learn about Scrum and Kanban. So Scrum and Kanban are two techniques which can help you to manage the products in an agile way, in a more iterative way. Yes. Was there a second part also to this question?
Yes, so basically they wanted to know that well, the second part was this, that is a product or a prototype necessary for your startup? Or
I would say instead of prototype, start with a minimum viable product. Or maybe if it's a very, very high tech product, then you can create a prototype, and based on that prototype, maybe you can get some incubation money. But for most of the consumer tech related things, don't try to create prototypes, just try to create minimum viable product first, and from that minimum viable product, try to iterate and try to grow it. And once you start getting some customers, you start getting some traction, you can get angel investors, etc. So that's what is the secret formula. If you just create a prototype without any customers, nobody would fund you. But if you have a small product, also minimum viable product is more like a prototype with some customers. So focus on getting customers. If you don't have customers, and those customers may be free customers, they may be customers whom you don't charge that much, but the aim is to learn from those customers. You should try to learn from everybody, and this is the number one thing I would say. Vijay learns from everybody, and Chanakya, etc. If you study, they always used to say learn from things like there is a very famous quote by Chanakya that you can learn from dog also, you can learn from animals also. So I would say try to learn from everybody. Don't just try to learn at college. अगर आप IIT में हो तो आप दुनिया के सबसे होशियार नहीं हो. I would categorically say आप इंजीनियर हो सबसे होशियार नहीं हो. उसका रीजन है, just see, there are people from very elite institutes who have been running elite banks, but आप उन सबकी नेट बैंकिंग ऐप देखो. आज क्रेडिट कार्ड, रिक्शा रिक्शा वाला, ठेले वाला don't have credit cards in India. Why? Because they have been created by elite people in elite companies. What I am saying is कि you have to go to the common man. Common man is your boss. आप कॉमन मैन आपका दोस्त है, कॉमन मैन आपका बॉस है. Just try to understand. Don't have this ego that I am educated. Education is for creating stuff. Education is not for ego. Just try to understand that. I'm saying this because I also have a lot of friends who are having good degrees. So some people are MBA, some people are CS, doctors, etc. Some people have ego. So I have seen people who have egos are not able to increase their careers. People like Vijay who don't have ego, they are able to create very successful career. So number one thing which I would like to say is please leave your ego that मैं engineer हूँ. Try to learn from everybody. Try to learn using self study, and you would be successful. Formula of success is just try to learn and try to experiment a lot. And obviously कुछ experiment would work and some may not work. The experiments which will work, try to scale them. And that is what I have seen Vijay doing. That is what lean startup movement is about, and that is I think the winning formula.
okay, sir. So, sir, another attendee is asking the question that on which criteria should one choose or hire team members of different disciplines for a startup? Should they be experienced or knowledgeable or enthusiastic?
Like I told, focus on head, heart, and hand. Is this person intelligent? Is this person open to learning? Does this person have growth mindset? There is a very good book by Carol Dweck on growth mindset. There are two kinds of people. One feel कि this thing can happen, and one feel this cannot happen. So, so if you hire somebody in startup, and somebody says, oh, this is not possible, we don't have the money, don't hire that kind of a person. hire only a person who says ये हो सकता है. So growth mindset should be there. Obviously, theory of multiple intelligence should also be there. So 7-8 intelligences may say at least 4-5 intelligences should be there. If somebody doesn't have any sort of intelligence or very less intelligence, or somebody has very good logical intelligence, बहुत अच्छा logical intelligence है, but he's not very good in talking. So don't hire that person in core team, because in core team you would need people to talk to each other, and you would need people to share their ideas. You would need to talk to customers, and a very good way is that core team members should be willing to talk to customers. तो वो जरूर just see, and obviously integrity should be there. जैसे I was saying, empathy should be there, integrity should be there, and just don't feel कि इसके पास डिग्री है. ऐसे डिग्री की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है मार्केट में. एंड आई एम सेइंग ऊपर से नीचे तक, tier 1 से लेकर tier 3 तक. tier 1 obviously gives you jobs in MNCs etc, but just see most of the existing corporates have been annihilated by all the startups. Why? Because corporates are not able to react as fast as startups. And startups, as I told you, na, कि startups are not about suited booted people. Startups are more about understanding the reality and trying to create a product for that mass. So just see Flipkart, just see the Paytm, just see other companies who are startups, even Uber, etc. So although they have some of them are not profitable that much, but the thing is that they have created products which have disrupted industries. So uh, try to understand things from that perspective and try to create disruptive products. And I believe that most of you are would be able to create disruptive products only if you change your psychology, and which for that obviously you need people who should have learning ability, because this becomes an issue if you are knowledgeable and if you know कि this will happen. For example, I will just share one example. So you need people who are able to understand what you are thinking. So try to recruit those people only. So I had a team and I had started an initiative called Open Class, where I was going to engineering colleges and training, and they didn't understand the like it can grow big, or like it will be game changing. But years later, when Paytm Build for India started, practically it is a version 2.0 of Open Class. So now my team says, sir, आप जो 10 साल पहले कहते थे वो चीज अब हो रही है, but at that time we used to feel कि आप बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा सोचते हो, इतना नहीं हो सकता है. सो ट्राई टू फाइंड पीपल हु फील कि कर लो, दुनिया मुट्ठी में हो सकती है. डोंट ट्राई टू रिक्रूट पीपल जो थोड़ा सोशलिस्ट और पुराना वो माइंडसेट होता था ना कि एक और एक दो ही हो सकता है, एक और एक 11 वाले लोग. ट्राई टू रिक्रूट देम, एंड ऑब्वियसली दे शुड बी गुड एट हार्ट. अगर वो हार्ट में दे जस्ट वांट मनी मनी मनी, डोंट ट्राई टू रिक्रूट दैट पर्सन, बिकॉज दैट पर्सन कैन नेवर वर्क in a startup. Startups are always about losses initially, and only then they create a lot of profits.
Okay, sir. Another question which has a common theme is that what is your opinion on the effect of coronavirus and all this pandemic and lockdown and economic slowdown that has happened? How would it affect the young and incoming entrepreneurs, and how should they market their product considering this situation?
See, I believe that there is a lot of a slowdown in economy right now, and obviously even after opening up, nobody is venturing out, because as you see in Delhi, we have thousands of cases, and there are a lot of reports that people are dying in hospitals, etc. So I don't believe that for next 3-4 months we would be coming out of this mess, and the way things are going in India, in Mumbai, Delhi, I think that things are getting out of control. So in at least these two cities. So I believe that a better approach would be that become conservative in spending cash, because for next few months economy would be in a downturn, and I'm not an economist, but I believe that at least 2020 would be painful. And the good thing is that many big startups started during bad times. Sony started when Japan was in shambles after 1940, after 1945, after the World War. Microsoft and Apple started in late 1970s, when America was in a big recession. So I believe that this is a good time for starting a startup. Obviously, you have to bootstrap at this moment. Getting as a student, getting angel investor would be very difficult in 2020. But the good thing is that you need some time to create some product. So you can do a lot of R&D these days, and especially because people are not venturing out. So like I have started writing a book on Startup Canvas. Why? Because obviously you have a lot of time to research right now, which generally you'd like I was not having time because of the hectic schedule. Similarly for students, I would say because universities are closed down, people have time. You have a lot of time to research these days, and I would say that try to do research, try to create MVPs during this time. And if you are creating an online product, this is the best time. Like I told, in Fun to Do Labs, we have had 10x the number of users who are using our educational posters. So I would say that most of the, even I would say people who are integrating mini apps. So we have a mini app program where people can create HTML5 based websites, and those websites can be integrated into Paytm app like mini apps. So people who are integrating them are finding that they are getting a lot of traction, because most of the people these days are spending money online, because offline they are not able to venture out. So I would say that offline, like instead of offline, you should focus on online solutions, and in offline also by next year, I think things would be fine. So you can create stuff based on the new reality. And all, and what I would like to say is that the world which was there till 28th February 2020 would never come back. Even after corona, now people are using Zoom, and now people know that kids can study online, etc. So I don't think that same world would come back, but obviously some form of day-to-day life would return back in next few months, maybe after 6 months. Like even though restaurants are opening, nobody would be going to restaurants right now. But after I think few months, those things would start again. We would start ordering through Swiggy and Domino's, etc. So food tech startups would be able to, like for them, 2020 is bad, but maybe 2021 would be better for them. So in general, I would say in 2020, focus only on online solutions, etc. But if you are creating for the long haul, you can create stuff offline also, and try to create stuff based on the new reality, which is based on social distancing. And even after corona, social distancing 100% would not go, because like I used to see a lot of people from South Asia, from Southeast Asia, and people from China, etc., wearing masks even in India because of SARS. They had this they got this habit of wearing masks, and which obviously helped them. Like Taiwan, etc., were able to stop the coronavirus. So I believe that a lot of social distancing would stay. Many people would be in the habit of wearing all these things, and maybe you can have smart smart clothes, etc., using IoT, etc. Maybe and you can have some sensors, etc., for different things. So IoT, etc., I think would grow, and you can ride those waves. So broadly, Corona would be bad economically in 2020, but I feel that 2021 onwards, we would see a sharp recovery, and I believe that 2021 onwards, we would have a very good time economically also.
Sure, sir. So, due to shortage of time that we have today, the last question of tonight is focused on you. What you said, that getting investments for students and young entrepreneurs is going to be difficult because of this pandemic situation. So, how do you think they should tackle them? Because one question was also on the lines of getting funding from other nations is uh, how would that adjust towards the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat? So what are your takes on that?
I would say that see, Atmanirbhar Bharat ka, the meaning is that you should build for India, and you should first build for India, and then you should build for the world. And funding, I would say, is global these days. If you want to take India only funding, it is not possible. For example, you saw that Jio, which is practically an Indian company, but it has taken money from Facebook and a lot of global investors recently. And if you see all these startups in India, they have funding from all the countries. But I would say that funding is transparent. Till if the funding is transparent, you can take funding from anywhere. And but the first customer should be Indian. That's why it's called Atmanirbhar Bharat. But Atmanirbhar Bharat is not that Atmanirbhar Bharat which some like so we had a Swadeshi focus in 1980s, 70s, etc. I am not saying that so there is a difference between Swadeshi and Atmanirbhar. See, Atmanirbhar Bharat is like what Paytm is doing, that we created this Paytm service and now we are exporting that service to Japan and we are expanding globally. Like Oyo, it created the product in India and then it exported that product to different countries like China, etc. Oyo is relatively big, and like Ola also, they got inspiration from Uber, but they basically learned the tricks of trade in running that Uber model in countries like India, developing countries like India, and now they are going out. And I heard that Ola had even started in London. So what I would say is Atmanirbhar Bharat is that we just don't want ki people in China or people in some other country should create stuff for us. What we want is that we will get stuff from them, but we will do a lot of value addition. We will learn to create innovative products for our country, and then once we are able to scale that, we would export that. This is what Facebook is doing. So Facebook started with as a social network for Harvard, then it started as a social network for US students, and then it started exporting Facebook to outside USA. So I would say all Indian companies should do that. They should first create for India, and once they are successful in India, because India is obviously a big market, then they should start exporting and purchasing companies abroad. This is what Airtel also did. This is what a lot of startups are doing. So Airtel was successful in India and they purchased stuff in Africa and they became a very big mobile operator in Africa. But obviously, everybody is getting funding from abroad. Airtel has funding from abroad, or Reliance now after Jio has funding from abroad. So getting just funding from India is very, very difficult. So I would say we should just focus on who is running the company. Funding obviously would come from outside India. Nobody can stop that because most of the economic markets, the capital markets are very porous these days. And the only thing is they should be transparent. It should not be like some country is funding you from back end. They should fund you after all the compliances based on government compliances and all. And then obviously, if you are taking money from bank through banking channels, I say that that is also part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and it is obviously better. If you take money from China or America and build stuff for India, I think that is better, na? That is better. आप India से stuff लेके India के लिए बनाते हो, तो that is good. But if you take money from America or Japan or from China and you are creating stuff for Indians, then obviously it is better. आप उनसे पैसे लो और देश का भला करो. That is better. Uh, the bad thing is when we don't take money from them and we take use Indian money to buy stuff abroad, and usme bhi companies abroad we are not purchasing, we are purchasing expensive stuff from abroad. So if you are importing a car from outside India, so obviously that is a waste of money because foreign exchange is going out. But if you are purchasing a just like Tata purchased JLR Jaguar Land Rover, I think that kind of thing is obviously important, because Atmanirbhar is not that I would close all the windows. Even the Prime Minister, when he had introduced Atmanirbhar Bharat, he said that we would be open to the world, but first we will create for India. So you are creating first for India. So just see any startup, they first create product for India and then they start scaling. It's not the other way round. And that is, I think, what is Atmanirbhar Bharat is about. Atmanirbhar Bharat is not about just focusing on India and don't and not focusing on globalization. But globalization would come only once you are successful in the country. That I think is changed after Corona, because earlier we used to feel कि सारा सामान China में बनेगा, and obviously now we have seen कि they are not a very reliable partner in that sense, and obviously all the epidemics etc. also generally start from those areas due to various habits. So I would believe that country should be independent of any specific country when it comes to getting goods.
That was a really amazing and knowledgeable session. On behalf of the whole team, I would like to thank Mr. Saurabh Jain, sir, for giving us his precious time and extremely valuable experience. Thank you so much, sir. Uh, I would also like to thank the guests from IEEE India Council and IEEE Delhi section, in particular Professor SN Singh and Professor Prerna Gaur ma'am. Moreover, I would like to thank the organizing teams of IEEE India Council Student Coordination Team and the IEEE Delhi Section Student Network. Uh, we request all the attendees, all the participants to follow and stay tuned on our social media pages, as we have more upcoming webinars for you. and a surprise webinar in the coming week. We hope all the attendees got the maximum out of it of this session, and it was a source of learning for them. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you, Saurabh sir, again.
Thank you all the dignitaries and attendees. And stay tuned to our social media handles. We would soon be having another webinar on next week. All the certificates will be provided via mail, and the
So
recording
can
for
I share can I share my blog? Somebody is asking the URL of the blog. So would it be possible for you to flash that?
Sure, sir. What we can do is we can mail all the participants your blog itself along with the feedback form, if that is okay.
So I will just share you the article where I have listed all the 200 books which I have read. So maybe you can share that. I will just share that in the chat window.
Okay, sure, sir. We can share that among all the participants who register for the event. And I guess now we are done. So thank you, Saurabh sir, and thank you all the dignitaries, Prerna Gaur ma'am, SN Singh sir, Puneet Mishra sir, and basically the moderator, Utkarsh Singh. So thank you all the participants for being here, and it was great and a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you.